Diplomatic efforts over the Iran war are increasingly focusing on reopening the Strait of Hormuz, with Iran agreeing to prepare a list of conditions for restoring normal shipping through the waterway. The development came after Qatar's Prime Minister and Foreign Minister visited Tehran on Thursday and pressed Iranian leaders to respect freedom of navigation through the Strait of Hormuz in accordance with international law. Qatar, along with Pakistan, helped broker a memorandum of understanding in June that led to a ceasefire and established terms of shipping through the strait. The Strait of Hormuz is the narrow waterway between Iran and Oman that, before the war, carried around 20% of the world's oil supply. After the United States and Israel launched the war 6 months ago, Iran threatened to strike vessels traveling through the strait without its authorization. This reduced shipping traffic and pushed up oil prices, giving Iran leverage in negotiations. Following the Qatari delegation's visit, Rezaei, Secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, said Iran was preparing a list of conditions for reopening the strait. Rezaei said Iran had agreed with Oman on a shipping corridor through the strait, with parts of the route running through Omani waters and parts through Iranian waters. He said ships would use a designated central channel if the United States met Iran's conditions. Iran's previous conditions have included ending the US blockade of Iranian ports, compensation, and the removal of sanctions. It remains unclear whether Iran plans to change those demands in a way that could be acceptable to the United States. Direct diplomacy between Tehran and Washington has remained limited, with most diplomatic efforts being handled by third parties. Iran has so far insisted on returning to the June Memorandum of Understanding, which established a ceasefire and a 60-day period of negotiations. However, the agreement broke down over two differing interpretations of Iran's authority over shipping arrangements, and US President Donald Trump declared the memorandum over 3 weeks after it was signed. Iran's Revolutionary Guards said on Wednesday that Iran and Oman had agreed in principle on managing the traffic through the strait and sharing revenues. However, a senior Iranian source later said the two countries were still working on the details of the agreement. Meanwhile, the US military commander said American forces had cleared sea mines from the strait that had been laid months earlier by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. US Central Command Commander Admiral Brad Cooper said international shipping lanes were open and the memorandum was building. Cooper also said US forces had helped 1,500 commercial vessels carrying 750 million barrels of crude oil pass through the strait in the recent months.
Hi, I'm Admiral Brad Cooper, Commander of U.S. Central Command, here with an operational update on two ongoing missions in the Middle East. Many of our 50,000 U.S. troops operating across the region are doing outstanding work executing the naval blockade against Iran while maintaining commercial traffic flow through the Strait of Hormuz. As recently announced, the U.S. military has achieved a major milestone in the Strait of Hormuz. We have successfully cleared sea mines in the Strait's international shipping lanes that were laid months ago by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Internationally recognized transit routes in the Strait are free of Iranian sea mines thanks to the incredible work of the U.S. military. Let's take a look at exactly what this means. Here's a nautical chart of the Strait of Hormuz and surrounding seas. It's frequently used by mariners around the world and clearly identifies the internationally recognized traffic separation scheme, which you see labeled on the chart as TSS. A traffic separation scheme is a highway system for ships on the ocean. Here on the chart, a dividing line is shown and placed between lanes with opposing traffic directions to keep ships safely apart in the narrow waterway. These are the long-standing lanes international shipping has historically used to transit the Strait of Hormuz, and over the past few months, our forces meticulously and quietly cleared them of sea mine threats using a combination of Navy divers, Navy SEALs, and U.S. air power from the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marine Corps.
However, despite repeated statements from President Trump that the strait was open, many vessels have avoided using it because of Iranian threats. Ship tracking services have estimated that the activity through the strait is currently around 5% to 15% of normal levels. The United Nations International Maritime Organization has reported 70 incidents in the Strait of Hormuz since the beginning of the war, resulting in the deaths of 19 seafarers.